What is up, everybody? It's Thursday. It is the NFL opener. And Sean, I got robbed the other night. I did not win the Powerball.
Well, that's okay, Segs. I'll be willing to send you. I'll be willing to give you, send you a signing bonus when I take this thing on Saturday night for 1.7 billion.
Yeah, and
so after tax, you're probably
1.9.
Yeah, by then, so close to 2 billion. You're probably going to bring home with that a little more than half after they take taxes and they pay the whatever they pay the Powerball people. What, about 1.1 billion? So you're
roughly
about 1.1, maybe. Yeah, they'll take 800 million and 900 million. So yeah, 2 billion, about 1.1. So I'll make sure I let you know when those numbers pop up. And matter of fact, I'm moving your whole family here, so we're in studio together all the time.
Back to Houston. Back to Houston.
Okay, maybe not. Well, we can make the trip to Scottsdale and we'll all move there or somewhere like that. You in on that?
Now we're talking because Houston was a fun time, but I don't know about moving back to.
You're ready to get back home to Chicago. I don't blame you.
Now Scottsdale, different conversation. I mean,
yeah. Hey, when you're Chicago, you're Chicago. And, if you're Texas, you're Texas. But the truth is, you can be either. When you mentioned Scottsdale, it's like, I'm all in. Because, Chicago is a huge Arizona, like spring training. Yes. There's as many Midwest and Chicago fans as there is anywhere down there in spring training. Say, you know what?
Snowbirds love it.
Oh, they sure do. We got a lot to cover. They've got a big game tonight. We're going to hit Kawhi Leonard, and we all need a tree endorsement. Let me just put it to you that way.
Yes,
I want to hit Jalen Hurts individually when we go through this section, when we break down the game, because I think the disrespect for him as a quarterback is palpable and gross. Okay, I mean, by some of the national pundits. And speaking of which, I don't like to start the show like this, Segs. I come in here and I want to be upbeat and positive. And go, sometimes negative's good, but upbeat, positive, think, okay, we got games. It's the start of the NFL season. And we're going to hit red zone today, too. And how pathetic it is that fans never get a seat at the table. But then I'm going through, and, we go through our prep and getting ready and, adding a little powder to your nose before a show, all that stuff. See, you with the beard, you don't need it. Add a little powder to the chin so it's not glaring. You got the good beard. And then all of a sudden something comes up from a national TV show that you're like, you're out of your friggin' mind, right? This is a joke, right? April Fools, you can't be this dumb. The world's now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points and may God have mercy on your soul. All those things. And I'm thinking, and I never make this personal. And this won't be personal either because I don't know the guy in person. I know him when he was a player and I know him as a broadcaster. Listen, I respect anybody who stands for something. But even then, when you stand for something and you overload your mouth with your ass and you need whatever it is that stops diarrhea of the mouth. This isn't perfect. It could be anybody that said it. And I normally, broadcasting's tough and all that, but this one ain't that difficult to get right. Okay? This one ain't that difficult. So lo and behold, you turn on, I guess it was Get Up. No, it's not Get Up. What's the other one called? What's the one with Stephen A. and
is it First Take?
What is it called? First Take.
First Take.
All right. And I love Stephen A. He works his ass off, and Orlovsky's good football game. And Ryan Clark's won awards and played in the NFL and all that, which makes this even worse how he said it. They're talking about Arch Manning, and they're beating that topic up about generational talent or not. And you could say, now, before we play this clip that is going to make you say, oh, whatever cures diarrhea of the mouth, give it to him. But I'm not sure we can go back. You can't back up on this one and restart the truck and put it back in drive, Segs. Is generational talent. Are we talking generational talent, meaning he can win an Olympic gold medal in 3 other sports? Bo Jackson talent?
Right.
Deion Sanders talent? Are we talking football talent? Football ability? Football, because if you're telling me Arch Manning, real quick, and this had nothing to do with this part other than the beginning of this clip and generational talent, are you asking me if he's a generational talent at quarterback or just a generational talent that can play 4 other athletes? They're talking about generational football talent.
Yes,
football talent. Position. So the equivalent would be like saying Larry Bird, Kobe Bryant are not generational talents. The equivalent, I'm not talking about Arch Manning to who we're going to talk about. The equivalent will be saying Barry Bonds is not a generational talent. Fair enough, Segs? Or that Randy Johnson's not a generational talent. Now, who knows what kind of athletes they are when they're playing football catch in their backyard? Those other guys, right? I don't know if Larry Bird can run a pass route, but he's white and could probably play slot receiver, but he's a little too tall for that. So you get my point. So when I hear this, I'm thinking, what's the narrative? What's the undertone? Why is this? So Stephen A. and Dan Orlovsky looked like he was baffled by the comment as well, and Ryan Clark. And I don't watch these shows, but I do watch clips because I do. Dan's really good with his X and O segs.
You can't miss the clips because they put them everywhere because they're so stupid.
Right. And so never personal. But when somebody says something like this and we don't comment, I feel like I let myself down. Here's what they said on First Take this morning and talking about generational talent at quarterback.
I think there's less than what you think. I think John Elway was a generational talent. I think Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. I don't think Tom Brady, I don't think Drew Brees, I don't think Peyton Manning are generational talents. I think Andrew Luck ended up being a generational talent. I don't think there's a ton of them out there.
But so then what? Then how does one, in your eyes, be a generational talent? Because there's not a lot of difference.
Production. Let me chime in here because I love the argument back and forth between y'all. I ain't trying to get in the way of it. Here's the reality. The operative word here is. Do you believe Arch Manning is a generational talent? He could be, but he's not. Why not yet? What have you seen to say that he is?
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence.
Okay. Well, then here's what I don't get. I understand what Stephen A. is saying is, how are you judging talent? By what a guy looks like in a uniform? Because he's 6'5", 230? Are we saying, or when you say, well, there's no evidence. And you're right with Arch Manning, there's not enough evidence other than high school to say he's a generational talent, a generational name, a generational potential, all that great DNA, all that. I get that part. But then do double down and triple down and quadruple down on this. He said that Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Peyton Manning aren't generational talents. And you can tell with the way they were talking about Elway, Mahomes, and Arch Manning, they're talking about the quarterback position. Yeah. And then when Stephen A. says, could be, but isn't, and you hear Ryan Clark say, yeah, you got to prove it. You got to have the evidence to prove it, babe. I'm using my words, but saying that he could be, but hasn't proven it yet. So now let me go back to the other part of this generational talent. Did Drew Brees prove it? He's got a Super Bowl ring and about 8 billion yards in a Hall of Fame jacket.
Like 89% of his passes.
Peyton Manning's going to get his, the most accurate passer in history.
Yes.
Peyton Manning's got a Hall of Fame jacket and 2 Super Bowls and been to, 3 or 4 of them. Tom Brady been to a whole bunch, went to 10 and won, 6 of them? 7. Is that what it was? No, went to 8.
7.
8. He went to 7. Let's see.
I don't know, whatever
went
it was.
To 7.
He
lost to the Giants and lost to Kansas City. Is that right?
Yes.
In Tampa. He beat Kansas City. I'm trying to think. He's out of the league. Regardless, he's got 6 or 7 Super Bowl rings. Belichick may have 7 because that's the name of his boat, but Tom wasn't with him on one of them in New York, was he? Because of as an assistant coach with the Giants?
Yes,
hell, put it this way. I'm sitting here trying to – Brady's been out of the league. I don't even pay attention.
Call him the GOAT.
Yes, he's a GOAT for a reason. 6, 7 of them, been to 8 or 9 or 10 of them, whatever it is, okay? Mahomes, generational talent. Elway, generational talent. But when they say he could be to Arch Manning, but he isn't yet because he hasn't proven it. But then to turn around in one part of the segment that Ryan Clark honestly looked into that camera and said, as a guy who's supposed to be knowledgeable about football, maybe it's the wrong lane, and he defended quarterbacks as a DB, was a good football player. How in the world do you actually look into that camera and say those 3 aren't generational talents, Brees, Brady, and Manning, and then turn right around when they're talking about Arch Manning and say, well, Stephen A. said he could be. Fair enough on Arch Manning. And then in the background, you hear him say, but you got to prove it. Yet he turned around earlier in that segment and just told us that those 3 guys who have proven it to the tune of 8 billion yards, 400 million touchdown passes, and Super Bowl rings to boot have not proven it. So Bird's not a generational talent. Bond's not a generational talent. Shohei's not a generational talent. And quite frankly, then neither is Mahomes. Because if Mahomes, if Brady's not a generational talent at quarterback, then Mahomes sure as shit isn't. And if you're just talking straight athlete, the best athlete at the quarterback position, if you're talking about being able to move and run, resides with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. If we're talking about athlete that can move and do it all. If you're just talking about generation, right, Arch Manning is not proven he's a generational talent. He comes from a generational talented family.
Family.
But to sit up there on one side of that's why this is hot take, overloaded bullshit. And for people who watch and let this happen and keep watching without fighting back on the set and allow them to say this, are you know what? You're just as guilty to let him get away with it. I'd walk 10 miles over broke glass to have been on that set when he said it, because I'd have jumped through the screen at his ass. And Stephen A. wouldn't have got a word in edgewise, and I'd have yelled over him, because this to me is, how am I supposed to lend you? And what I say is Ryan Clark should have a lot of credibility. Player, award-winning, I think he's won an Emmy as a broadcaster, all that. Much respect. I don't know him as a guy. I'm sure he's a good guy. But there's an undertone always to his. But this is, when it just comes to football takes, this is as dumb as it gets. You don't have to even be a football fan just running a fantasy team and you've never even played it or seen it or watched it to know, oh, yeah, I heard that name, Tom Brady. Not a generational talent. Now compare it to other sports. Now do other sports. This is just dumb. It loses credibility. And the fact that you got to sit there and look at it makes you say, are you getting real stuff on that set or on any set when people say stuff like this? When do you know? How do you discern between what they really mean and what they don't? This has got to be a clickbait. And it baited me in. It got me. Because if he really believes this, then he does not know the position or what a generational talent is in football. Period. It's embarrassing.
Period. Yes.
It's embarrassing.
The thing that threw me off, obviously the whole thing threw me off, but he says that about Brady and Breeze and Manning. 3 of the top, I don't know how you have them. I would say 3 of the top 7 or 8 quarterbacks of all time.
Without
if they're not generational, then I don't know what the definition of generational
and they're moving,
is.
as Kim Hall says here, they're taking talent, Segs, and player and putting them in the same group. If you're talking about generational quarterback and player, then he missed the boat. If you're just talking about skill set and talent, Cam Newton was a generational talent.
Right.
Cam Newton is not and now he's a game changer because of what he brought, size. He changed a little bit of how we look at the position. But Michael Vick was Cam Newton with less size before Cam Newton was Cam Newton.
Right.
So if we're talking about generational talent, yeah, generational quarterback, MVP, good player, hell of a player, not a Hall of Famer. But when you're talking about the guys he mentioned, including Elway and Andrew Luck, who was a generational talent.
That's the one.
He didn't go to a Super Bowl.
What did he do?
He doesn't have a win.
Yes. To say Andrew Luck became a generational quarterback. What did he do? What did he do to become?
He helped the franchise, and they did it, but he didn't get the championship. Right.
Right. That Manning and Brady, and it's just when you compare the names, if you want to throw, Elway, who was insane. I mean, it's just, but you look ahead, and this all starts. We go back to Arch Manning. Nothing he's done. You watch his highlights from high school. There's a highlight going around right now on Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it, of him being chased by, it looks like a 5'10", 260-pound slow white kid chasing him, trying to chase him down.
Out to his right.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there's another guy kind of chasing him that is not moving at all. And we heard about the level of competition that he faced in high school by being in that little private
Christian
school
league,
that he was
private school league. Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what this kid can do, because he did, as other people have said, he sat behind a 7th round pick in Quinn Ewers for multiple years before he got his chance. He didn't walk in and take that job like others have. He didn't walk in like Trevor Lawrence walked into Clemson and eventually took that job within his first year. He didn't, Bryce Underwood. If you want to talk about a generational type talent that has every tool in the box, look at Bryce Underwood. 6'5", 235. He's a true freshman. He runs like Cam Newton, yet he's got an arm like anybody else any big time arm you want to throw at. If we're going to talk generational type talent that has the talent to be one of those guys, it's him. He's
a generational skill set, but not a generational quarterback just yet.
Exactly.
He's just not.
That's the best way to put it.
Right.
Exactly. So Trey Wingo said it yesterday. These guys are saying stuff that there is no way possible they can believe it, yet they continue day in
to spew it,
day out to spew it,
and get contract raises and all that. Listen, I like I said, it's not personal. I respect anybody who, like I said, gets it there and puts time in. But this is just telling me you can't think this. You just can't. You can't think like this unless there's some other undertone that we don't know about or something weird. He knows football. and to say this stuff. And I know we're in a time of clickbait and hot takes, but aren't we clamoring for good football and sports talk without the shit that muddies the water with the verbiage?
A lot of it's dying.
Yeah, it's to me, it drives me crazy because eventually your gimmicks become played out and then the next gimmick comes along. And to get clicks and say it, I can't fathom going on. And I truly believe this. I don't say stuff I don't believe. To hear something like that makes me think, well, then all the other football stuff I've listened to from people who say this, then it obviously tells me that all the stuff I listened to was hogwash in the first place, because we get stuff wrong on this quarterback's going to turn into a great player. Right. This guy's going to win a game. This team's going to win a Super Bowl. I'm talking about, you cannot talk about generational quarterback talents. I didn't say who can run the 40 the fastest. I said generational quarterback talents. Right. So if you want to talk, if you just said athletes, fine. Peyton Manning's not, I wouldn't look at Peyton Manning and say that's a generational athlete. That's a generational football player and a generational quarterback. Arch Manning has got generational legacy, generational DNA. He's got the potential to be great, but right now he's just a quarterback with that last name with a skill set that we think that we're going to see, but we don't. That's fair. But what isn't fair, or fair you could call fair enough, but what isn't right, and it's not even close to being correct. If you're going to label Andrew Luck a generational talent, Sam's Super Bowl, and Andrew Luck is a tremendous talent, was forced out with injuries, no doubt. And then turn around and say, well, but Brady and Manning and Brees aren't, and they're wearing the mustard-colored gold jacket and have Super Bowl rings, then something's wrong here. Elway fits, no doubt about it. Got Super Bowl rings, talent. Now, if you're saying because Elway played baseball, then say generational athlete. Big difference.
Right.
So huge difference. So for me, I just don't know how you can look at that and say this and then walk off the set and people looking at you like, are you out of your damn mind, dude? This is, or they're smirking and smiling and say, got him. I don't take my job very seriously, but I sure take myself very seriously. I mean, and to look into dispute it. And we buy into it, but to do it on that show, I got to believe he believes it, Segs, which is baffling to me. Now, keep an eye on Twitter. You're going to get what I meant to say was it's coming. It is coming because he'll feel the need to explain it. And like most people that are wrong with their take feel the need to explain it. If you're loving it, don't go back and explain it to us. Live with it and then debate whoever's going to go on that set and debate with you over it. But I'm not leaving that verbiage. There's no muzzle on that set if, in fact, something like that comes out. Because then I got to ask, what is a generational talent? You told me one, and then, like I said, it's that background. Triple E, play it again, and I want you to listen. They go from they were talking about Arch Manning and talking about generational talent. We're talking about generational skill set at quarterback that is a great player. So with that, then I want you to listen in the background when they talk about you got to prove it. And he's got Andrew Luck on the front side who didn't prove it with the Super Bowl, if that's how you're judging him, put up good numbers. He's a hell of I'd call Andrew Luck a generational talent. Yes. And a generational quarterback that left the game too soon, didn't get a lot of help, and unfortunately we didn't see it flourish all the way like we expected to.
Correct.
So listen to the bat when they're covering both sides so they can bail out, meaning Ryan, on, what I meant was this. No, what you meant was you don't respect the three guys as players, and those three guys are three of the 10 best players we've ever seen at the position, far greater than a couple of the guys you've named.
Yes.
Here's one more play.
I think there's less than what you think. I think John Elway was a generational talent. I think Patrick Mahomes is a generational talent. I don't think Tom Brady, I don't think Drew Brees, I don't think Peyton Manning are generational talents. I think Andrew Luck ended up being a generational talent. I don't think there's a ton of them out there.
But so then what? Then how does one, in your eyes, be a generational talent? Because there's not a lot of difference.
Production. Let me chime in here because I love the argument back and forth between y'all. I ain't trying to get in the way of it. Here's the reality. The operative word here is, do you believe Arch Manning is a generational talent? He could be, but he's not. Why not yet? What have you seen to say that he is?
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence.
Ryan Clark said no evidence in the background. So if there's no evidence to prove it, if you're talking about championships, honestly, I'm not just taking championships into it. For Andrew Luck, who I think Andrew Luck is a generational quarterback. That's not the part. The part is the Manning, Brady, and Brees thing. Do you know how tough it is to complete balls like Drew Brees completed them? And then they're going to go on and watch. Eventually, you'll hear, well, Belichick wouldn't have been anything without Brady, and he'll be chiming in on that saying, well, wait a minute. Now you're defeating it. If he's not a generational talent at quarterback, then how did he get 6? Because people are saying, well, if Bill doesn't have Tom Brady, isn't that the very definition of generational, that you elevate and take people to a new level? And we're not going to see somebody like him. I got news for you. Even Mahomes is going to struggle to win as many Super Bowls as Brady did. So going back to that, Segs, is when you think about, and what was Brady's got, did he get 6
7
with New England? Yeah, he got
7
6 with New England, 1 with Tampa, and he went to 10. So we were right the first time. With all these rings flown around.
Yeah.
So with this, if it's evidence, what evidence does he need? He said, you want evidence with Arch Manning. You want evidence with Arch Manning, but you got evidence with Brady, Manning, and Brees, but you're saying that it doesn't matter because, well, they're not talents yet. You got talent. You got both with Elway, but you got them all with the others too. What? Because Elway was run the 40 faster than Brady. But that's not what they're going here. They're going on quarterback play, dude, and how they transcend the position and how they elevate the position. And to say that, this to me, anytime the quarterback position talk comes up, I can't listen to him talk about it now. I just can't. And I have in the past. I won't now because it's like you obviously, okay, he's a DB. Is Rod Woodson a generational talent?
Yeah.
You're damn right. Is Charles Woodson?
Yeah.
Was Dion?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I
don't know.
Here's maybe what takes part of this away is we got to think of the term generational talent.
Yeah.
I mean, when we're talking generational talent, normally the phrase means there's one for each generation. There is that guy. In 80s, Elway was that guy. And then, other guys become a generational talent. I thought Manning was that guy all through college. Everybody talked about him as that guy. And then Andrew Luck came along. Everybody talked about Andrew Luck as that guy.
And he validated it other than a Super Bowl. He validated. He made the Colts better.
Yes, he was a great, great talent. And then there's other people we've thought were going to be generational talents that turned out not to be. And let's say Trevor Lawrence. I remember me and you were together. I mean, we watched Trevor Lawrence. And we're like, holy shit, this kid has everything you want. And then he got to the NFL, and maybe it's situation, maybe it's the team around him, the coaching and all that. But he hasn't been the guy we all thought.
He's a talent, Steggs. He's a talent, but he's not generational. Big difference.
Exactly, because generational keeps getting better every single year, and then they make it to the top. And that's why now Brady is, because Brady wasn't this huge college quarterback that was so great that everybody had to take him. No, he had to work his ass off from being the 199th pick to being a 7-time Super Bowl champ that basically everybody who's watched the sport calls him the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. So, I mean, I think the term that the people on First Take are throwing around, I think they think of it as just like, oh, we can name a lot of guys that are generational talents. No, I think you have to be, you can be labeled early, but it doesn't mean you're going to stay it. And yeah, if you want to label Arch Manning one, but now he's got to prove why he's that generational talent.
Tim Tebow was a generational talent in college. He was college.
But one of the best college players of all time.
It didn't translate to the pros. So, in college, Arch Manning was I guess you could say generational skill set in high school competition, the Manning name. But the truth is, had he not had the name, we'd be saying, oh, a guy waited on his turn, was a really good high school player. Man, they'll speak highly of him. There's a lot of praise. That's how he applies it to college. So he's not there yet, is the key word. But also, how are you defining it? If you're defining quarterback play as generational talent, I'll bet you 6 ways to Sunday and twice on Sunday. And I think Joe Burrow's I could take Joe Burrow first over any quarterback in this league and be happy for the next 5 to 8 years.
For sure.
No problem. Love him. I think he's the best pocket quarterback on the planet right now. He's the closest to Brady we've had from the pocket.
Yeah.
Is Joe Burrow generational talent? Yeah, but I'll guarantee Ryan Clark will say he is. He will. Okay, he's been to a Super Bowl. Then is Jimmy Garoppolo a generational talent? Good play, got him to a Super Bowl. So what's your criteria? Yards, make a team better, elevate everybody in the building, win a Super Bowl, look the part, look good in the uniform, and longevity.
Does he think Eli Manning's generational? 1-2 Super Bowls?
He's got no. If he doesn't think Peyton is, how's he going to say Eli is?
That's what I'm saying. Like but this is where the conversation doesn't make sense with what he's having.
And here's another thing.
He proved
Here's
to be a
another thing.
very, very good quarterback, but yet his stats say he's an average, slightly above average quarterback.
Okay, well, and here's another thing. And we're using this thing. There's a difference between, I can name 10. Jaden Daniels is a football playing Jesse.
Yeah.
He is as talented as gets. Or because of his rookie year and his Heisman Trophy winning season, is he a generational talent? No, because the guy the year before him, C.J. Stroud, we talked about him the same way. You can't have generational talent every year. Then it's not a generation. That's yearly talent. Exactly. Generation means we expand the globe for generational talent. And the truth of the matter is that if you have 2 in one generation, that's okay, or 3. So if Patrick Mahomes is the generational talent of this era, then you're telling me that Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen aren't. And if you're judging it by Super Bowls, fair enough. But if you're judging it by body of work and play on the field, they're generational. Is Joe Montana generational talent? He wasn't the most talented quarterback that played, but he was the best. To me, that's generational. The best by far. He dominated his era. And so did a couple other guys, so you can have more than one. But we throw around generational talent just like we throw around every play's great at the line of scrimmage. Guy makes a tackle for a 3-yard gain. What a great tackle. No, he was in position. That's what his ass is supposed to do. To me, this is, quite frankly, a football embarrassment that this is a conversation that they're having.
We need to get rid of the term generational talent unless it is that guy, a John Elway, an Andrew Luck, or a Peyton.
LeBron James is a generational. What do you think he's better? Jordan, I think Larry Bird was a generational talent.
Yes.
He wasn't the most talented, but dive all the things he did as a basketball player. Now, if you said, Sean, generational athlete, I'd say, get the hell out of here.
Right.
No, but generational basketball player was smarter than you, better shooter than you, got more rebounds than you, even though he couldn't jump as high as you, all those things that go along with it. LeBron James. So, and see, guys like Elway, LeBron, and Jordan, they cover the generational athlete, generational talent, generational performance, all that.
Yeah.
So what is their criteria? In this case, to put quarterbacks and generational talent when you've got multiple Super Bowls, multiple yards, multiple touchdowns, I'm talking about millions of them, you missed the mark here by a long shot. Yes. It's not even close.
Bring back the word elite. Just bring back the word elite.
And I'm sick of that word too, yes.
I am too, but at least when we're talking in this, you can call guys elite. You want to call Andrew Luck elite? Fine. I wouldn't have him as a generational talent, me personally. I can see why some would, but he was an elite quarterback that if he kept playing would have been, had a chance to win a lot of Super Bowls if he stayed healthy. But it's just the conversation and it continues daily on all the TV shows that we have to see highlights from.
And deal with on a regular frigging. And some of the things people say is great, but the agenda says it's so hard. That's why I don't watch it. It's not because I don't like football or bitter at it. I need just teach me.
Yes.
Even, you know what I'm saying? First of all, don't talk under the expert. Right. Don't talk. Segs, I've told you this before. When you've talked about, Sean, when you first went on TV at ESPN, what was it like? And I was taught at an early time that I had to learn from somebody else. Hell, you're scared to death, and no matter broadcast journalism major or not. When the light goes on in this live, you're like, damn, hope I don't screw this up. My goal was to not talk under the person who's an expert. I would consider Belichick and Brady experts. Right? Brady, Manning, and Breeze are laughing their ass off at this comment by Ryan Clark. And to the point where they're rolling their eyes. They're laughing at him, not with him. Okay, that's one. But I lost my train of thought, Segs. What was I going with that? We were talking about Brady, Manning, the talent, television. My goal was not to talk under the expert because I wanted him to know, that maybe you can even learn something you say the expert may learn. And whether you did or not, but that was a goal. And then secondly was not to talk over the amateur, meaning not the amateur, you're not in a condescending way, but in a way that said, like Matt, to teach it. So the person who didn't understand it gets it. And so the person who does isn't looking and say, come on, man, you're bullshitting. I know that. I know you know better. And so to find that happy medium where both are engaged was a goal. Sometimes you reached it. Sometimes I didn't. Sometimes they do. And sometimes they don't when it's analysis. But there's not an expert on the planet that's watching that show. Now, ratings may go up because why? Clicks galore. But when you walk out of that room and walk down the hallway and then have to go to see these guys in person, you walk up to Peyton Manning and say, hey, man, I was kidding. My bad. You know what I meant. No, I actually don't know what you meant. Since you compared him to other quarterbacks that I don't look at Andrew Luck as a guy who plays 5 sports. I looked at Andrew Luck as a superstar elite quarterback who prematurely was out of the league. But I don't know how he is with a bat in his hand so we weren't talking about athlete. We're not talking about elite quarterbacks because you would use a different phrase. We're talking about generational. And there isn't as many as people think when we overuse generational sayings all the time. Now, elite talent, different. Cam Newton was an elite talent. Arch Manning has elite skill set, but if he doesn't apply it, it'll be elite skill set that was empty. And we got to see it, but it's been one real start, let alone 3, but one real one. So my thing is that if you're Breeze, Brady, and Manning, and you said, let's talk football, would you sit next to him after this comment? Not because you're bitter at him, but to the point is, dude, I'm going to swim circles around your non-football study and ask if that's the case. And I know he studies. That's what's so disappointing. I can understand that from some jagoff who's sitting around, has never watched it, and is just a troll. And sometimes I wonder if some of these shows aren't trying to troll you. But in this case, he knows football. He's defended quarterbacks. He's been on broadcast enough to know. That's why I say when you do that and you still say it, that maybe he doesn't have an idea what a generational quarterback looks like or what that criteria is supposed to look like. Yeah, it's ridiculous. All right, we'll give that enough attention because my head nearly exploded. I said, I'm going to talk about 60 minutes on one topic.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to jump to
Let me hit this flash funding real quick.
Flash funding first.
Yeah, it's one of my big advertisers, but also one of my very, very close, when I talk about, hey, he's my close friend. These are friends, but also people that I'm in business with. I'm a customer. I always like it when I'm endorsing or your influencer product or speaking on behalf of an advertiser, that when I'm a customer, that tells me I know more about it than the person who's trying to tell you and sell something. Oh, they're an advert. Let me sell it even though I don't use it. To me, in order to sell it to you, whether you're selling a soda, a beer, tires, energy drinks, if you're not using it, you ain't selling me shit. Flash funding, I use it. You can see there, working capital in the flash, flash-funding.com. I am one because my business needed it. And when you're talking about the flash funding right here in Houston, family-owned and operated company led by experiencing factoring professionals. You say, Sean, what is this? Okay, well, the company can't wait 30, 60, 90 days to be paid for services provided. So got to go get invoices, right? Sometimes, people like, I'll get to you. Well, that's my living. That's my business. I got to pay bills. 30, 60, 90 days to be paid and provided. We provide funding for your business by purchasing accounts. They purchase the accounts receivable, turning invoices that may be paid sometime in the future to fast cash today. They're getting out in front of it for you. You don't have to wait 90 days. They're going to go out, boom, purchase the serviceables, get it back to you, get you the cash, and then they'll go to getting it and how they get paid. Purchasing those are so important to make sure that they take care of you and do it the right way. And they have purchased those accounts receivable so you can get your cash from Flash Funding. Flash Funding provides factoring service for companies anywhere in the country, anywhere in the USA, helping you maintain cash flow, which is important. I needed cash flow for my business. Bam. You know how long it took me to get it? And we're talking 6 figures plus. You know how long it took me to get it? Within a week, 4 or 5 days, 4.5 days, 5 days was when I got it and needed it. Your immediate payment on your invoice is taken care of. Factoring gives business owners financial security, giving you the freedom to expand, meet payroll, and explore new opportunities. When you're not cash happy and you got bills to pay and you're trying to expand, have somebody like Flash Funding and only Flash Funding purchase those receivables, turn around and get you your cash in a flash, and bam, get you moving your business forward. It's flash-funding.com. I am a client. I am a customer. And I'm telling you from my experiences, and if you're in that position and you need yours purchased because you need cash now, bam, it's flash-funding.com. There you go, Segs, man. Being a customer for them, and it saved me not having to dig into my doggone, boom, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And it's been a godsend for me from them. So I'm grateful. All right, Segs, back to this football stuff. We got this game tonight, right?
NFL kicks off tonight. Cowboys at Eagles. NBC kickoffs like 7:27, something like that. Philly minus 8.5 right now. Total is 48.5, 47.5, depending where you look. I made my bet right before the show today on what I was taking. We'll go over that later. But when you just look at these two teams going into this season, first game for Dallas without Micah Parsons as a member of the Cowboys. Philadelphia Eagles coming off a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts gets that first Super Bowl. They didn't get worse, as you keep saying, over the last couple days. This team is still really, really good. Does Dallas even stand a chance to be competitive in this game?
Vegas is telling you, excuse me, no.
Right.
Sakes, you know how hard it is to get an 8.5 point spread in the opener in a rival game?
Yes.
That's like Michigan getting ready to play Slippery Rock.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of a point spread of a 30-point spread. That's
NFL,
NFL point spread. Right. Yep. I mean, we're 2 points away from double digits point spreads, and you ain't getting those every week in the NFL. Yeah. And especially when it's a rival, the team coming off it, the energy that Dallas is facing because of, the Micah Parsons stuff and where are they? People are burying them defensively, offensive line, run game. Well, Dak's here and CeeDee Lamb, how much can they – well, you shouldn't have got rid of Micah Parsons. Philly's sitting back saying, we got better. We got the best offensive line. We may have the best running back in football. We got the most versatility. We got a quarterback who's a reigning MVP in the Super Bowl, and I'm going to get to him after this as we go on about how poised he is. And you just keep going on about the strengths. We spend more time talking about the Cowboys' weaknesses than we do about the Philadelphia Eagles' strengths. Maybe we just say Philadelphia's locked in. They're well coached. They lose an offensive coordinator. They fit that in. Vic Fangio back on defense. Nothing not to like about Philly. They should be the favorite to represent the NFC, but it's a long one. You got to play 17 of them. In this game, I give them a chance, Segs, because they got a pulse and a heartbeat. I would take the under in this game. I would, because I think Philadelphia's defense is going to make them one-dimensional. That's what I think. I think Philadelphia's defense is going to make the Cowboys one-dimensional, and they're going to give a lot of different looks, as you know. And they may not be complex, but they're going to make you think it is. And Fangio's they're going to catch and tackle and do what Vic does. He had a brilliant game plan in the World Series. It's a new season. I think the Cowboys will probably show up a little better. I think they could hang around early, Segs, but I think when it goes, big plays, I think the Cowboys got one choice defensively. They're not going to be good enough to stop what are you going to ask, Frank? You're going to ask Clark to run up and down the line of scrimmage and play them all. I think that they're going to commit to trying to make sure. Matt Eberflus is the D coordinator there, right, Segs? In Dallas. They're going to try to commit. You have to stop the run first. I know it's a cliche for coordinators, but you do in this case. Listen, when you're playing Mahomes' team or a Josh Allen team, even though with Cook, who's a good player, you know that what quarterback you got to stop. For Lamar Jackson, as good as Derrick Henry is, I got to stop Lamar first in the run game and pass game. And then they double whammy you with Derrick Henry. Well, in this case, Barkley's Barkley. You have to commit down. I'm going to expect a couple big plays on the perimeter from the Eagles. This game reeks of 24-10 to me, Segs. You know what I'm saying? 23-13. That keeps the under. I like Philadelphia. I think like this, and it's served me well most of the time. I usually take the biggest over or the smallest under each week in both college and NFL. Now, the stats at times have borne it out. I haven't looked this year about what happened last year, but Vegas is smart. When they set a number that big, there's something to it, in my opinion. It's helped me in my, and I'm a bettor and I love it. Yeah. I mean, better. And on the other side, when Iowa's offense couldn't score on anybody, they scored like 8 points a game, and the under was 23. Take the under. Inevitably, it was 17-6, and you either hit it or it was 10-3, and you won the under. So it's pretty served me well, because when they're going that low or that high, it's like in college. Say, you and I have had this. We've talked about it. When Mahomes or when Baker Mayfield was at Texas Tech or at Oklahoma, and those guys, and the spread's 84. Yeah. And at halftime, you're at 50, and you're thinking, I lost my money. I took the over. Yeah. And before you know it, there's 35 points in 4 minutes, and they hit 97, and you're like, I didn't think I had a chance, and I blew the over away. So they're not dumb, and they don't build casinos that are air-conditioned hotels for the hell of it. So I like the under in the game. It's a decent number, but I just think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to struggle to be two-dimensional offensively. And I think there's way too many weapons and an offensive line that I think is going to maul the Cowboys' defensive front. Give me a 10-point in that range victory. I'm even feeling more comfortable about the under. The only thing that scares me about the over is some broken play in the secondary for the Eagles, and or if the Cowboys just can't, if they're running around like a pinball machine trying to defend all these weapons they got, and Jalen Hurts is soft. This is a game that you got to defend Hurts' legs, Barkley's legs, Hurts' arm and accuracy, which he's improved, and home run hitters on the perimeter. And I think it's slim and damn near none that the Cowboys are winning this game. Now it's up to you whether you decide you like that point spread or not.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote down 27-13 Philly. So I'm in that same range as you.
Right.
Of
which gives you the under as well, still say.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I just look at it from the standpoint of can the new interior. So you got the young, newer interior of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line with Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, and then the rookie Tyler Booker going against Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and the rest of that. They just throw bodies at you. The Philadelphia Eagles defense does, but can those
the guys
young
sitting
guys
on the bench can play a lot of other places? Say
yes,
in their front step.
Exactly. So I look at that matchup, and then you mentioned it. Yes, you got to focus to stop Saquon Barkley. So now you're going to put Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland, who just got his new money, up against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And those two Cowboys corners, they love to try and make the big play. They love to make the pick six.
Well, they cheat on it. They're going to
a lot. So Barkley, boom, A.J. Brown gone, or Devontae Smith gone.
Even
it's gonna be tough for Dallas to keep this competitive, in my opinion.
I would 100% agree. And here's the thing too: you can even blitz and not get to them,
right?
Meaning because the offensive line will take care of their part, and if the blitz is coming from distance, if you do miss, Jalen Hurts kills you. A lot of times, the quarterback like that is if he misses his side adjust or hot read is so good. He's thick-legged, he's a good player, but strong, but also obviously mobile. That even if you miss a slot blitz coming from distance, what are the chances when you eyeball him in the open? It's like a kick returner. The first guy on coverage usually misses, right? Yes. Guy okey dokes and resets, and then the rest come. Same thing here. If you're the first guy to the quarterback, blitz, pass rush, and you miss, big plays happen all over the field.
Yes.
And the longer you got to hang on those guys out there, dude, we're talking. It's tough enough to hold on to him under in a 2.5 drop back, put your foot in the ground and let it go, let alone a broken play. I would expect both. I think this is a huge task for Dallas. I don't have the Cowboys making the playoffs. I'm not sure they're a 9-win team. I think they're closer to the Giants than they are the Eagles.
Yeah,
I do.
Outside
with
of
Washington, obviously better.
Right. Outside of Dak to CD, and now George Pickens gives them a nice number 2 wide receiver. But I mean, the running game.
Yeah, talk about a talent. George Pickens is a skill. Yeah.
Yes. But the run game with Javonte Williams, I don't know how much I trust that at all. Like, it's not like they're going to sit down and run the ball 25 times and Dak throw 15 and they win games. No, they're going to have to win shootouts. And they have weapons, but I just don't know how much they can really do.
Segs, here's another thing I think about that is I believe that Philadelphia thinks that they can play 2 high safeties, not even insert a safety in the run game, that their linebackers are active enough that they'll dare you to run it, and you're still not good enough or explosive enough in the run game, even though their coach, Brian Schottenheimer, is a run game expert. He really, but Brian doesn't get to block anybody. You can scheme up all you want. So I believe Philadelphia thinks they can line it up in the conventional coverage and fronts.
Yeah.
And not have to come down like the Cowboys are going to have to do. If they don't, Barkley will run for $175. He just will. And they'll destroy him. And it'll be that, boom, 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 hand it to Barkley, and the game go home, and it's 33-10. Okay. So for me, the Cowboys, I'm not sure they can run it against a conventional front, especially an active one. Kobe, they run, Segs. They run. They're physical up the field. They're great in the interior. So they force you to bounce. And when you bounce, you're bouncing into team speed. That's stupid. Right. Everything about it. What's not to like about Philadelphia, honestly, other than the fact that is it a Super Bowl hangover? I don't. What's not to like?
I think about. I have no idea because their
find me a glaring weakness.
Yeah, their defense got stronger. They went and drafted Jahad Campbell out of Alabama, so just another great SEC defender just stuck into that defense. We haven't even talked about Zach Bond, who became one of the best defenders
monster
in football last year, and he can do everything. He can play the pass, he can rush the passer. So, I mean, they are just so stacked across the board at every position. Yeah, maybe their weakness would maybe be secondary, but they just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger each year. So it's just, I just,
they're
walking into the season,
cover,
I
brother.
cannot give Dallas a chance in this game just from everything we've seen. In that locker room for Dallas, how would you feel? You're in your locker room, you're sitting there, you're the quarterback, you're, one of the best players on the team, and you look at your phone or someone walks in and is like, they just traded Micah Parsons.
You know what I'd say, Segs? They don't care much about 2025.
Exactly.
As a veteran, you don't want to hear that. As a rookie, you're saying, okay, they're bringing 2 rookies next year. We'll be a young team. We'll be on the uprising. If you've been in the league 10 years, rebuild or we'll see in the future. Doesn't matter. To me, it's saying, and I don't like to use the word quit because I know Prescott's going to show up and play hard. They're going to do everything they can to win, but they're outmatched. Going in, this is heavyweight versus middleweight. That's what this is. Whether Cowboy fans want to hear it or not, and as much as I hate to say it, and with this game this early, with the rivalry and the rest of it, you say, well, pride's got to kick in the rest of it. All that's fine and dandy. The other team's just far better, and they execute far better. The only way Philadelphia loses is twofold. One, if they miss their cab ride to the stadium or their car goes out, or two, they have a boatload of unforced errors or self-inflicted errors. Other than that, even if the Cowboys get inside the number, Segs at 8.5 points, I think it would be a backdoor type thing. Coverage like, oh man, they got a late touchdown. They took their starters out, even though their backups are good. Oh, final score 27-19. Yeah. They got inside a half point, which okay, great. But I'm just saying, if you're saying straight up, this is in truth, this is on paper. Power 4 conference versus an FCS school.
Right. And before we jump to Jalen Hurts and the talk around him, I don't know if you saw this little nugget pop out from, I believe it was Schefter this morning, that Howie Roseman and the Eagles took a shot and tried to trade for Micah Parsons. They called Jerry and said, here, and supposedly they made a very competitive offer. I don't know what they were offering. I don't know what players that maybe the Zach Bond that we just talked about. Maybe he was in there. They made an offer, but Jerry is not trading Micah in the division. Can you
imagine if he did?
My gosh.
Can you imagine if he said, well, this was the best opportunity? Right.
Yeah, I don't care what Philly traded. Give them Micah Parsons, assuming health, just give them the Super Bowl trophy.
If you would listen, if they'd have taken 2 first, the same trade, a player and 2 ones in Philly for Micah Parsons, and Jerry would have pulled it off. Number one, they'd have ran him out. They'd have tried to run him out of Dallas. Now, I don't know if you can run Jerry Jones out of anywhere. No. They'd have tried to, let alone Green Bay. But in the division, where you're just saddling up another team to go repeat, that takes them to a whole new level. And Philadelphia would have jumped all over that, wouldn't you? Because Howie Roseman's in the business for winning Super Bowls now, and he is a great executive. I don't blame him. And you know what? I don't blame him for calling or trying to pull it off because, you may catch Jerry on one of those damn days, right? Yeah. You know what? Philadelphia, because his ego's big enough to think, screw Micah Parsons. We'll show you that we can beat you with you having Micah Parsons, and we'll stock up later in the draft. Well, in Philadelphia or in Green Bay, those picks are going to come beyond number 20.
Right.
They just are. So you're going to be picking low. So, to me, Segs, the game says Philly. The Cowboys have, we're talking about unproven, trying to figure out. I'm not even judging their past history. I'm talking about this year. Right. There is, if you go through the Brent Musburger old school CBS NFL Today check mark of pro, who wins the category? Where's the category where the Cowboys are better? You're going to tell me Prescott's a better thrower of the football, more pure? All right. Yeah. But he's limited now on the edge. Okay. But Jalen Hurts, I don't know, 300 yards, Super Bowl MVP. It looked pretty damn good to me. So for me, I don't know in groupings whose secondary is better. Eagles overall, Cowboys, Eagles overall. I'm talking about all 4 across and your nickel and dime. Who's better defense in front 7? It's not close. Better offensive line, not close. Best football player on the field plays running back for the Eagles, not close. Wide receivers, equal. Fair? Matter of fact, Philly's still got a little edge because Pickens has to take his to, and there's another step to his. Yeah. But Devontae and A.J. Brown been doing a little more tight end position. I'll give
Dallas
CeeDee
Goddard
Lamb's. I can make CeeDee Lamb's the best of all of them.
Yeah.
But I would say right now, Devontae Smith as a player is more advanced than Pickens, yet Pickens' skill set says he can be a top level. So I'll call that a wash. I'll call that a wash. No other place. Field goal kicker. Both got good field goal kickers.
Yeah.
Both can punt. Special teams are both good, right?
Yeah.
So we know the Cowboys kicker can kick it from like 87 yards. But if they kick 3 field goals tonight, I ain't gonna mean a hill of beans. They're gonna get their ass kicked 35-9.
Right.
So give me Philadelphia, and until somebody now, if you were telling me Washington was playing this game tonight against Philadelphia,
that's who I was.
Now we got it. Now that's an opener, brother. But it's the Cowboys and do it. The Cowboy fans tomorrow morning on my guys in Dallas on their show are going to be talking about.
It could be a rough one.
Sure would have been nice if we could get pressure on the quarterback, but he's in Green Bay today. So
yeah, that's just one of those shows. That's just one of those shows you open up the phone lines and just let them go. Like,
hey man, welcome in. We have Morning Talk Radio. We have a lot to say. We're not saying anything. 4 hours. We'll take your calls right here on Sports Talk 790. Right.
Empty the bucket on Jerry Jones because that's what it feels like going into this game. That it's going to be bad. And if you're Nick Sirianni, if you're Jalen Hurts, if you're any of these players, if you're Howie Roseman, I mean, how great would it feel to know that they just traded Micah Parsons? Now you go out there and you just spank them on national television in the season opener, and you make Jerry look dumb. I mean, that's what you should want to do every week.
Perfect storm for them.
Yes, this is set up perfectly because we do see a lot of times when they're doing the ring night, the ceremony on opening night, that team comes out and plays a little, they don't play up to what we normally expect from them. We've seen it from Kansas City in years past. We've seen it from others. But Philly has a lot to play for in terms of just embarrassing Dallas. Even more than they've already embarrassed themselves.
No question. You know what happens after stuff like this, Segs? When you get your ass handed to you, you get back on that bus, you get to the airport, you fly home. And when you get home, grumblings start.
Yep.
Well, how do you expect us to play better? We don't have enough defense. It does. It just starts going. You got to guard against it in the locker room. And then you get 2 or 3 of them. And now all of a sudden, this guy's disgruntled. Then Pickens goes a game where he only gets 2 balls for 19 yards, and we know how wide receivers like that. And then it starts, and then the defense is struggling. You start to see guys looking at each other because man, how come we can't generate a pass rush? And again, I'll say it again: there's nothing worse for a veteran player than to basically tell him we're playing for the future. And when you traded Micah Parsons, maybe it works out great for you 3 years from now. I don't know, but I can tell you in 2025. In 2025, that deal is dominated by the Green Bay Packers.
For sure.
Period. And their odds went up. I mean, as far as not in your favor if you were looking to bet them to win a Super Bowl because those odds of them winning creeped a little higher to the top in the NFC when it comes to bettors. Segs, you had mentioned Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to do so. I know that we get caught up in this. Do you look the part 6'4", 230? There's plenty of 6'4". I'm 6'5", 235, and I know what it's like to be a journeyman, start some games not where people don't think you're good. Some people do all that. Oh, but I look the part, Segs. I was big, strong arm guy, right? We see that all the time. I'm just still trying to figure out with Jalen Hurts. Been to 2 Super Bowls. Should have been the MVP in the first one if they'd have won it.
Yeah.
Didn't. So they got there with him. And then he goes and plays this year. I'm telling you now, if Jalen Hurts isn't in that game, they don't win the Super Bowl, let alone the defensive play on Kansas City. They don't win that Super Bowl. They don't. Now, we say they don't. Is it a guarantee? No, if there's a backup or some other star. If Russ Wilson's a quarterback, I don't think they beat Kansas City. Does that make sense? Is that fair?
Fair.
Okay, so I could go through a bunch of guys, right, like that. I don't understand. Now, he got paid like a superstar. I think Jalen Hurts is the most poised quarterback, at least on the optics visual, that I see in the league. That doesn't mean I didn't say better. Josh Allen's more talented skill set with the overall. Lamar Jackson. I said poised, and poised matters. Why? Because poised with talent and a good team plays his best football under the most pressured moments. And he's done that. We're still in the infancy of a guy's career. We are still a guy who hung around and then transferred to become a better passer to Oklahoma. They draft him high. He stays the course, goes through all, and it's tough town, Philly is. They expect you to be great all the time. And I understand that. And what's he do? Stays the course. Loses coordinators. Now, he's on his 3rd offensive coordinator and has taken been to 2 Super Bowls already, Segs, in his 4-year career? Is that where we're at right now? 5-year, going on his 5th year, 4th year, whatever it is. So for me, I don't understand the national disdain when I hear people come on and say, oh, he's a game manager. All right, let me ask, what's Drew Brees, Segs? Not a powerful arm, wasn't fast, wouldn't beat you in the 40, high football IQ through the roof. Jalen Hurts is a football coach's son, high football IQ. Big, thick lower half. His mechanics, Segs, JB and I have done it in the past, watching him. He's gotten so much better and mechanically sound, how quickly the anticipation and getting rid of a big old windup, how that's coming out. He's starting to evolve, which makes him better. And his mechanics don't break down in big moments, which is more important to me than just looking the part in pregame warmup. So I ask you, when it comes to poise, find me somebody that you look at and watch perform. See, when I look at, doesn't it sometimes look like he's moving in slow motion, but nobody can catch him? When he drops, there's this ability on his face. I can never tell. And I compare it to Warren Moon, and here's why. Because I was a teammate of Warren's. He's one of my best friends, as you know that, Stegs.
Yep.
But I could never tell with him in the game. If I would have known what he did, I would have never known if he threw a pick or a touchdown. Now, he didn't throw many interceptions, but you get my point. Yep. The ability, and I learned such a valuable lesson watching him go about his business. Now, Favre was emotion all the time, right? But that's okay. That was him. Most of the time, Favre could handle that. And Favre, if he threw 5 picks, didn't give a shit about throwing a 6, and he'd rip one in there. And obviously, is the ball's the size of a daytime burglar, right? I mean, Can you imagine going in and stealing from somebody when everybody's home during the day? That takes balls. Favre had him. Warren Moon was so good, had him too, but I never could tell, Segs. I had no idea, if I'm just watching his face, how he was playing. Usually it was really damn good. I get the same in a different way, but the visuals when I watch Jalen Hurts, I don't think the team ever thinks that they're done. And I watch him perform in big moments. So what is it? He's got 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 win. And here's what they say. Well, without Saquon Barkley, they're not going to Super Bowl. Yeah? Well, John Elway is as gifted as we've ever had. And without Terrell Davis, he didn't get one either. And he's as talented as we've ever had at the position. Josh Allen, oh, yeah. Hey, look what he does. He carries his team. Yeah, but he's carried his team to the playoffs, not the Super Bowl. So that matters. And he needs some help.
For Lamar.
So can't I say, man, Andy Reid made Patrick Mahomes. He was a college quarterback with all that, and they didn't win much today at Texas Tech. But damn, can't I say that Andy Reid made Mahomes better, just like Mahomes makes Andy Reid better? Andy's taken all kinds of people to the playoffs and quarterbacks to the Super Bowl, right? So there's that. So when we're comparing all these, and those guys deserve great kudos, why aren't we giving Jalen Hurts? Because he doesn't throw for 400 a night? Do you want a pretty statistic guy? Okay. And you know my affinity for Cousins. I'm just talking about him or Dak Prescott. Pick whoever you want. Numbers. Put up big numbers all the time. 4,000 yards. Put up big numbers all the time. But what's missing? So if you're going to tell me those guys, elite throwers of the football count. Oh, you can't win without them, or when they're in there, you need those big numbers, or without Dak, what are they going to do? Well, I don't know, but I can tell you this. You're not going to sit here. I'm no longer buying into the fact that Philadelphia is the same team no matter who's playing quarterback. Bullshit.
Right.
Poised, throws the ball to the right guy, plays. When I'm judging a quarterback, how mentally, emotionally, and physically tough you are. Do you have those questions about Jalen Hurts? No. His accuracy's gone up immensely, and he's a really good player. Okay, because he can't throw it 80 yards. You know, the next time you're going to throw 80 yards in a football game, the answer is never. It's never coming up. Makes throws, overcomes bad plays, has dealt with different changes at coordinator, has a great running back that he features. And when you're shutting him down, he takes the game on his shoulders and throws touchdown passes to his perimeter. He makes people better. Listen to the way, don't listen to us analysts talk about him. Talk to the guys in the locker room. How do they feel about the guy? And to me, he's as poised as anybody in the league. While he may not be 6'5", 230 and doesn't, I don't know what's not to like about it. Why? Because he doesn't quite have the arm that Allen, and when I say quite, little facade, that he can't throw it like Allen or Mahomes can. But I got news for you. He wins better than most. So I don't know I don't know what, when it comes to the judgment of this, it feels like it's convenient to say, he's just a game manager. Game manager, and I talked to a couple coordinators, Segs. I've asked coaches about this because it used to bug me, right? I wish I was a better game manager. Now, I'll throw it. I had guts. I'll throw it, but sometimes you throw it where you shouldn't. I wish I was a better game manager and said, that play will come. Just because we call it doesn't mean you got to throw it, right?
Right.
So when you go through that, and then you at times feel desperate. Great game managers can make me the big play like Hurts did, but can also get the ball on a 5-yard hitch. Make sure it's 3rd and 1 instead of 3rd and 9. You get it. Okay, we didn't get the first. Now we're in manageable situation. And he'll throw a pick or what have you, but game manager. Drew Brees is a game manager. Brady, Peyton Manning. Those are 3 of the best 5 game managers we've ever had. Joe Montana was the greatest game manager ever. Yet when you threw a bang post to John Taylor on the backside, he didn't miss it.
Right.
So that makes spectacular plays. But the best game manager to me and these coordinators, I said, what do I say game manager? And you would know their names. I said, what do you say if I say game manager? Ultimate compliment.
Yeah.
Now, if you say game physically limited, no bandwidth game manager, that means hand it off 8 times, hand it off 47 times, run it, and throw it 8 times, and let's get out of here.
That's a Trent Dilfer Super Bowl winning season.
It's a Mac Jones.
Yes,
it was a Mac Jones when they drafted him in the first round. Not overly skilled, but a better athlete than you think, manage it. But if you put the game on his shoulders for a month, he's not carrying you. And no disrespect, lifetime, somewhat starter backup. But to me, game manager, why don't I want a guy who knows how to get first downs to get me in the end zone? It's the dumbest narrative on the planet. Jalen Hurts, game manager. I'm going to tell Philly fans and anybody else, and I think Philly fans know this. I think they put respect on it. But any of the national broadcasters, no, he's not Mahomes or Josh Allen on the visual skill set. But I can tell you this, he's in the category of quarterbacks that I want with the ball in their hand in the fourth quarter of a game.
For sure.
So that tells me you're not winning without him. As good as they are, if Jalen Hurts is Tanner McKee's a good backup. But you find out really quick how good you got it when the other guy is out.
Yes.
And you want Jalen Hurts healthy. They don't win it all last year. Matter of fact, they don't get out of the Rams game. Right. They don't get out of the Rams game. That's not to say the rest of the team. Jalen Hurts is talking about the perfect storm. They're well coached, phenomenal talent. They maximize the talent. It looks like a great group with a great fan base that's passionate. What's not to like? And you know what? Anybody that tells me Jalen Hurts is just a guy that there's a million Jalen Hurts around, I would tell you then you've just diminished Josh Allen. You've just diminished Lamar Jackson. You've just diminished Joe Burrow because he hasn't won one. You've diminished Dak Prescott. Then you just diminished all the guys. Jordan Love, if you're telling me why, because he can't throw it as hard on the RPMs, oh, well, give me Jalen Hurts and I'll beat you 6 ways to Sunday. And most of the time I'm kicking your ass on Sunday.
Well, and that's when you look at a lot of guys, a lot of times at this time, you see a lot of lists come out. Give me your top quarterbacks, all that stuff. And you always see Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, and Burrow as the top 4. And I would agree with those 4 just in terms of
argument. Juggle them however you want.
Everything, those 4. But then you'll see guys that have Justin Herbert. He's the favorite of most that has that cannon of an arm, but he hasn't won much, and he's had talent around it. Maybe not the defenses, but he's had talent. You mentioned Jordan Love, Dak Prescott. All these guys are being talked about. And then there's Jalen Hurts. And I just keep looking at these.
He's like an afterthought for some.
Yeah, I'm just bullshit. Like, what? I mean, look at Tom Brady early in his career. And I'm not comparing Jalen Hurts to Tom Brady, but Tom Brady wasn't just wowing everybody from the jump when he got his chance.
Dude, if Bledsoe doesn't get hurt, Brady doesn't get seen. And Bledsoe could throw it better than anybody in the league when he was playing. Brady
grew into the 50-plus touchdown guy in one season. He was not that guy at the beginning. He worked his ass off to get there.
And he's a generational quarterback, too,
yes.
Well, not
to all.
According to me, but maybe not Brian Clark. So just a hunch.
Not to all, but yeah, I mean, it's just I hate the narrative of not only what you're talking about, but quarterbacks they don't have the big rookie year like CJ Stroud had. Caleb Williams, perfect example, threw 20 touchdowns, only threw 6 picks. Yeah, he wasn't great, but look at his situation. Went through 3 different play callers, had chaos. Matt Eberflus had no clue what he was doing, and the Bears did that to themselves. But why are we all of a sudden, and it's been all over the offseason, tearing Caleb Williams down without even seeing him play in Ben Johnson's system?
Well, right.
And it's not just Caleb Williams; it's other rookie quarterbacks. We see this.
They wanted to quit on Bryce Young.
Yes.
He came back, played well last year. Now we're talking, okay, year 3, maybe he elevates, right?
Right.
If you'd have quit on him after the rookie year, shame on you. Is my point.
It was normally the case, like from what I remember, and now you would remember a lot better because you were dealing with it at ESPN and stuff. But when someone was drafted in the top 10 or the first round, a quarterback I'm talking about, normally they got 2 to 3 years to be able to get to their level of play that we think, okay, now you're ready to go. Now
Aaron
it's
Rodgers,
like week 1.
right behind Favre. Aaron Rodgers, one of them. Right.
And I'm even saying, even if you play and you struggle, Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions, like we talked about, led the league as a rookie. Nobody gave up on him.
Way. Right.
Yes.
Right.
Nobody gave up on these guys, but now it's, and maybe it's the social media age where everybody can put their thoughts out immediately right as they see it. But I mean, fan bases, teams, we see teams do it. They give up on these guys instantly. And it's just like, what are we doing here?
Well, first off, King Kenny, 1240. Nobody said that nobody else could run the system. Oh, Philadelphia would be great if Josh Allen was there. Philadelphia would be great if Lamar Jackson was there. Philadelphia wouldn't have gone to the Super Bowl if Russ Wilson was there. So you just, or Kirk Cousins, slice it however you want. Dak Prescott's not taking him to a Super Bowl next year. He's just not. As good as he is, it would have been because the bandwidth is down. And I disagree. If you put him on any other team, Hurts is average. Now, if you put him in Carolina, yeah, they're probably average. His numbers are a little more average. But how are we so we're taking a guy's game away? I'm going to tell you right now, put Josh Allen in Carolina. Who's the worst team in the league this year? Sakes. Pick one. I don't care. Cleveland?
Yeah.
Cleveland? Put him in Cleveland. They're not making the playoffs. Yeah. So Josh Allen would look, he'd look more imposing because he's physical. He's a great player. Of course, good players make great quarterbacks better. If you'd have put Tom Brady on a shitty-ass team with a bad coach, Tom Brady probably wouldn't have 10 Super Bowl appearances. Obvious. But to say that Jalen Hurts would be average, then you're not watching the position. Simple. That doesn't mean you don't know football. You're not watching it closely enough. You're just looking at stats and numbers. Jalen Hurts, there's nothing average about him. Now, is he the guy you're going to load up to throw 45 times a game for 6 straight weeks and win? But guess what? If I got a team that I got to load it up and throw it 45 times a game for 6 weeks, I'm not winning anyway. It doesn't matter if it's Allen, Mahomes, or anybody else. So having good players matters. Yeah, no shit.
That's all of sports.
Of course. You know what? Otani was the best player in the world, right?
Yeah.
Most unique player on the planet.
They had 2 of the best players, him and Trout in LA.
You know how many playoff games they played together in Anaheim? 0. Trout's been in 1 series in the playoffs of life. So, yeah. Now, they're not average numbers because in baseball, it's an individual game wrapped up in a team game. Yeah, are you as good as your quarterback? Sure. But I know this, that if you took the 9th best quarterback in the league, there's a good chance Philadelphia isn't in a Super Bowl. Poise, under pressure, does matter. Everybody has an opinion. I'm okay with it. But I don't label – there's nothing about Jalen Hurts that's average. There's just nothing. We can play the if game. If he goes there, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. If Jerry Rice didn't have Joe Montana but had me as a quarterback, Jerry Rice would have been more average. Yeah, probably. You're damn right he would have. If Randy Moss wasn't there with Brady, would he have thrown 50 touchdowns? No, probably not. Probably not. So we can do that with anybody. But there's nothing average about Jalen Hurts, thanks. No doubt.
Yeah, he continues to get better. And that's what I love about it. He's just –
Isn't that part of the position, too, Sticks? Elevate every year?
Yes.
And real quick on your Caleb Williams thing, I want to validate what you're saying. If Caleb Williams didn't paint his fingernails and didn't have the approach he has, you know what they'd have said after his rookie year? Wait till he gets a coach and some players around him. Now, is he beat to a different drum? Yeah. He's a different – I'm a Trojan, so I know. But I can tell you this, you can't look at the skill set and say the guy's not a hell of a talent. If he gets coached right and he buys in, Caleb Williams is going to be a hell of a – the reason why we're saying it, the narrative on him is, well, weird or is he a leader and all that? And I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. But if they grasp him – so if he wins 10 games and throws for 3,800 yards this year and runs for 750 and throws 35 touchdowns and 10 picks, now all of a sudden he's great. No, he was a rookie on a team that needed help. Yes. Now, if he goes to hell in a handbasket and doesn't buy in and he's a journeyman, then we'll know he was a great college player like a couple other guys we know.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
And you give him 2 years under Ben Johnson. You get 2 years, in my opinion. That's how I look at it with Caleb Williams. You get 2 years. You have a brand new offensive line that should be really good, including an all-pro and Joe Thuney. You still got DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. You drafted Colston Loveland. You have Cole Kmet. You drafted Luther Burton. You have weapons galore. So now the pieces are there. Now it's how fast can he pick up? How does Ben Johnson bring him along in that system? But to just give up on him, especially when he throws 20 touchdowns and only 6 picks. And yeah, could he have been better? Sure, but still pretty damn good numbers for a rookie year in the situation.
He was scrambling, was running around, no doubt. It's
and
because
the
people narrative on him
and Drake May and kind of thumb their nose at him is because of what Jaden Daniels did. But again, we've also seen quarterbacks have the big rookie years, CJ Stroud, and then come back second year and struggle. And it's all due to circumstances. You know, someone gets hurt, someone's out, coaches leave, but it's just the narrative of in every sport, not just this. We see rookies come up in baseball. They go 2 for 36 to start their career, and analysts and fans.
Can I give you Kyle Tucker?
Yes.
Can I give you Kyle Tucker? Can I give you Carlos Correa? Can I give you Alex Bregman, all here in Houston? Yeah. And it turned out all right for those guys. So Segs and Kenny, I don't disrespect anybody on here. I didn't say you looked at stats. I said, as an overall, when we judge quarterbacks, stats are the most yards and all that. If I wanted to say you, Kenny, I don't know what you look at. And I don't disrespect anybody. Number one is I said, you may have plenty of knowledge. I said it. I said, but if you're telling me Hurts is average, then you're insulting my credibility and insulting my intelligence and thinking I'm that stupid, because I think, I may not have been to a Super, but I think I know the position kind of good. Just a hunch, just a fucking hunch, a little bit, just a little bit. But I'm not disrespecting. You may know a foul. You may have been a GM 40 times over. I give you all the respect. I'm not saying that Hurts is going to beat anybody in a throwing contest if he's somewhere else. And would his play diminish if he played on a bad team? Yeah, most would. And I said that Josh Allen this year would not take the Browns to the playoffs for that team. And he wouldn't. They're not an automatic playoff team, but then look at the division, look at the other players. Now, 3 years of building it. Well, they did go get Deshaun Watson for $230 million that we thought was a generational talent, right, Segs? How'd that turn out? Not very good. So that team needs more than that. So you'd love to have Josh Allen, and eventually they would go to the playoffs. That's where it starts. But right now, and I did say Josh Allen goes to Philadelphia on a good team, better. If Jalen Hurts went to Buffalo, they're still going to the playoffs. So you can switch him. Allen, he's a better player. He's the reigning MVP. But Jalen Hurts isn't the 18th best player. He doesn't have to bow down and take a knee to other quarterbacks because somebody said, well, he doesn't throw it as pretty as Mahomes. Great. Who does? So nobody's questioning you about don't take it. If you take it personal, that's a you thing. I didn't make it personal. I just said, if you're telling me that stats or somebody else, that Jalen Hurts is average, that's an insult to Jalen Hurts. He's better than that. He's not average. And you know it. You know it, and so do I. So with that, I give everybody respect, or I wouldn't have ever read your thing. I like it, but
it's just
I think Jalen Hurts is far better than you think.
You are going off of everything you see. It's throwing touchdowns. That's him on the sideline. There's a lot more that goes
about the whole package. That's why it's called quarterback, not athlete. Exactly. You're a quarterback. What goes into the preparation?
Too many fans, too many people that don't really know the game like you do or others think 98% of the quarterback position is just on the field. There is so much more that goes into it that makes a guy go from a second-round pick that some didn't know if he could play quarterback in the NFL to Super Bowl MVP in 4 years, 3 years, whatever it was. And his talent's only going up. And that's where,
I don't diminish a guy's skill set because he's got good players around him. That's the goal. That's the goal.
That's every great Tom Brady, all of them.
So if we're saying that, then we got to diminish Josh and Lamar because they've had some good teams and haven't won a Super Bowl. So we got to say, well, why? Is something going on in January? Not the step. What's going on? Of course, it's not because of them only. It's the whole package, and that's part of playing quarterback. You're enhancing the whole package, and Hurts does.
That's why Ryan Clark doesn't think Peyton Manning's elite generational, because he had Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, Edgerrin James, Dallas Clark. That's why.
Yeah, and Tony Dungy. I guess
Tony Dungy. Yeah.
And if Peyton would have been on an average team, he wouldn't have been as good. Like as well witnessed by the 28 picks as a rookie, of course. So Kenny, it's all in good fun. Nobody's insulting you. I don't insult people on here unless they come up and say that Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and I still don't make it personal. Drew Brees and Tom Brady are not generational talents at QB. Sure, they're not. Okay, they just all happen to be 3 generational talents playing at the same time, which is unique in itself. which we got with Elway, we got with Marino, and we got with Jim Kelly. All three in 1983, generational skill set at quarterback. Maybe Marino ain't beating you in a foot race, but I'll damn well tell you that's generational ball throwing skills. You think it still is generational. He ain't playing anymore. Okay, so I get it.
Do it better than most now.
I get it. Segs, what we're going to do this red zone thing.
Yeah.
I want to discuss this tomorrow because, we're going to get Kawhi Leonard situation about. I want to save this because it's not. We'll get it in. I know there's a game tonight, but by Sunday, because you're not watching. You're watching the game itself tonight. You're not watching Red Zone. Right. But Red Zone will tease it. You fans, once again, are hosed. You get hosed by what you're going to pay, and eventually, you're never going to see a free Super Bowl. They're going to charge you on. You're going to get charged on streaming for your Super Bowl. It's coming because it's too much money that they're not going to pass up on. All right. 2 is that'd be like that'll be the same as doggone. What's the drug cartel guy from way back when? Segs in Colombia. You know what I'm talking about, the all-time drug lord.
Yes.
I'm saying, no, I don't want more cash for that. Who'd you say?
Pablo Escobar.
Escobar. That'd be like him saying, no, I don't want any more drugs to make more money. I'm talking about in the drug world, his world, in the NFL world, which is our drug. You're still going to pay for streaming. You're still going to have a Super Bowl party, and they're going to okie dokie because they know they have to. But as the red zone thing goes, we'll discuss tomorrow. Once again, which I bitch about for 2 decades. Fans never get a seat at the table. They never get a seat at the table. Now, social media is the closest seat they get, but they don't get to decide this. You keep okey dokum, you're going to run them out. And commercials, it's not the ESPN. I know they're part of this. Is an NFL doing with the commercials. We'll discuss that tomorrow. But Segs, I know we both laughed about this, but kind of makes you wonder how you could. Billionaires know how to beat the system, right?
Always.
Okay, so in Los Angeles, Clipper owner Steve Ballmer did it exist? But as the story goes, a tree cutting or tree planting? Tree planting business, and somehow Kawhi Leonard got paid a little extra coin because of it, huh?
Yeah, 4 years, $28 million was the
endorsement
contract he got. Yes, endorsement deal he got from this company. And this company had Leo DiCaprio, Robert Downey Jr., Cindy Crawford, someone else that were also endorsers of this. But the kicker is those names I just mentioned, I think Drake was another one, put their money together. Kawhi got 4 times the amount of money that they got to endorse over the same period of time. And they actually did endorsements. Kawhi Leonard, Pablo Torre.
He didn't do a commercial, right? He didn't do anything.
Did not mention it one time anywhere that Pablo Torre, who broke this story, could find. So basically $28 million
to beat the cap,
to beat no-show job.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. To beat the cap, to circumvent the cap in the NBA, which is,
well, that's
incredibly complex.
It's not breaking a rule. That's breaking an NBA law, basically, is what it is. So held harsher. If it's true, listen, Pablo Torre, he's a good journalist. He's been on a roll lately with some of the stories. Oh boy, has he ever? Yeah. He got some insight somewhere. He's getting great stories, and good on him. Yeah. But with this, number one is it reeks. Number two is it makes you wonder who else is doing it with fake and and Steve Ballmer, if I'm not mistaken, is a billionaire multi that he put like $50 million into the company, Segs. And I don't know if he put it in and actually lost it because now it's supposedly bankrupt or no longer goes. Right. So I can tell you one thing about billionaires, what they don't do, Segs, invest $50 million and a couple years later, close it down. They don't do that shit. Why? They got to be billionaires because they're not stupid like some of us are and frivolous. They may be frivolous with their money, but when you got $100 billion, you can be frivolous, do whatever the hell you want. But they still forget $50 million. They don't lose $50,000 like that. Going into something knowing talk about the hiding money, getting him paid so he can't go. Plus, Kawhi's getting so much more. Why? Because he's load management. So he's getting him. You could even double that because he's not playing every game. He plays about 45 or 50 of them a year, something like that, 60 of them a year.
I did the math. He missed 226 out of 492 games since he joined the Clippers. So he's missed 46.
So he's not only not playing very often, he's also not doing endorsements to get paid $28 million, which is now looks fraudulent, like they've slipped it in under the Steve Ballmer cap to give them more latitude to do some other things, correct? Isn't that what this comes down to?
Yeah. I just love that it's a tree planting service. Like, come up with.
I mean, you got, or is it? Did they do the tree planting service? All the rich people, in those areas, we're going to make it look good and protect your haven and your beautiful crib.
Yeah,
but it's kind of brilliant on the tree planting. Why, Segs? Who questions the tree planting business? It's so generic and basic, right? Oh, and you know what? If you're a granola person, save the environment. I'm planting trees, and I'm all for saving the environment, planting trees, but I'm not doing any. I want to listen. If there's any potential advertisers out there, I will actually do work for you.
Yeah,
come on in here, hand Segs and I 28 mil. I promise you can come on and be a guest every day. Talk trees, talk. You can thumb your nuts on here for an hour if you want for 28 mil. Yeah. But I promise we'll do the advert. We'll actually do it for you. Yeah. But I'll take it if you want to. But it's pretty brilliant. I mean, if he just said like betting or something, Kawhi wouldn't be involved in that. But Mercedes Benz, that's too obvious, right? Oh, yeah. But tree, it's like, oh, look at him endorsing what's right. Segs, we're green.
Damn,
we're adding some oxygen.
Shirt. Just tell him to put on a T-shirt after the game.
Yeah, wear a hat in every interview.
Yeah,
yes.
It could be bad money that you're getting because it's a terrible deal to just wear a T-shirt as the endorsement, but make one commercial. And
there's no way this is the only time this has happened. There's no way this is the only time this happened. There's no friggin' way.
Well, I mean,
what's the result?
Like a quarter of a century ago, like 25 years ago, they got busted. They lost multiple first-round picks.
Right.
I
remember that. Yeah,
with
2 decades ago or something, right?
Yeah. They were fined, I think, like $4.5 million, and Joe Smith's contract was voided. He became a free agent immediately.
Yep.
That's what I'm more curious about. Does Kawhi become a free agent, and does any team?
But then, Segs, if you become a free agent, do you have the balls and guts to leave for a guy who gave you $28 million extra? And then what happens is, wait a minute now. We had the agreement. I'll take my punishment. We don't get a first-round pick next year. We were voided the whatever the NBA gives down. Well, wait a minute. Now you're going to okey doke me and you're $28 million richer? See, that's where it comes. It'd be amazing. Oh, he's a free agent. No. I want to stay with Mr. Ballmer. I get load management and $28 million to not do a damn thing. But brilliant if you could pull it off. But on the other side, Segs, if it is all 100%, every layer's right, you can't let them off the hook easy on this. You've got to crush them, right?
It's got to be big, yeah.
Big.
It's got to be
It's almost like just below gambling in my mind, right? Just below. It's almost because it kind of is. You're cheating the system.
You are
cheating the system. Sure. Not out of $1 million, out of $28 million.
I don't have their roster in front of me, but let's just say there's a decent player on their team making $7 million or just under. So let's say $6.9 million. Well, that's $7 million you're saving on the cap by what you would have been paying Kawhi.
That's a guy who's that's your sixth man, seventh man, eighth man off the bench who comes in and gives you valuable minutes. And Segs, you want to bet? If you look over the salaries, I'll bet you somebody's in the $7 million category for the Clippers. Guarantee it. So we got Red Zone tomorrow, Segs. We'll obviously talk about this game. I got the Eagles covering and the under in this game. They're a better team. The Cowboys, I think, are going to have a semi-out-of-body experience. And Kenny and Freedom and Lucy and all are great, who did I leave out here? Make sure all of them. I can't go through them. Kim Hall is on every day. We sure appreciate it. And Kenny, I love the banter. Come on in and join us, man. Come on and join us at any time. But Jalen Hurts is not average, no matter where he goes. And you'll continue. And if he plays good tonight, don't put him in the Hall of Fame. If he plays average, they'll still win. If he plays poorly, we'll hammer him tomorrow and say, see you next week. But the Philadelphia Eagles would have to do something short of self-infliction tonight to get beaten.
Yeah, as excited as I am about tonight being the opener, I'm more excited about tomorrow night. Chargers, Chiefs in Brazil. How does that affect the game? We'll talk about that as well.
Cheerleaders in G-strings.
In Brazil?
Shaved Brazilian style. And we're going to
Brazilian
recruit 2 guys.
We're sitting everywhere.
We're sending a couple Minnesota Vikings cheerleaders to Brazil to wear the butt floss for the dudes. We just want to make sure everybody's got it equal look in Brazil, Segs. I know that makes you horny.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's my kind of thing. I want to know what they're spending on security down there in Brazil.
Yeah, when you make the reservations to go play in Brazil, one thing you got to keep in mind, whether it's a World Cup, whether it's you're going there in the Olympic Games, whatever it might be, probably probably need to be, or when you go to play game and everybody says, well, didn't we play one there last year, Segs, in the middle of the season or something?
Yeah, I believe so.
Or in South America somewhere.
Yeah.
But you go, yeah, security's going to have to be real. And I would tell you this, lock your hotel room safe. And then, you know, when you put your goods, just keep it locked in case. But
I would just take them to the stadium.
Right. My brother's been there in Brazil and down in that part of the world and loved it. And I would love to go, but I got news for you. It's going to be tough to it's a business trip. Trip. It's a business trip. Try explaining that for a business trip in Brazil. You got to be awfully focused. It's a good thing it's the opener and not game 7 or 10 when you're out of the playoff picture, because we'd be getting there thinking, oh, 5 guys missed curfew and aren't playing in a game. You know, you see that. It's a good thing it's the opener, because you're like, head on a swivel. I'm in Brazil. I'm going to go eat the good food, drink the good drink, stand on Copacabana Beach, and I got a football game. Yeah, this is a business trip. But tomorrow night, I'm going to tell you what, tomorrow night's a preview of a possible, and Denver ain't going away, and the Raiders are going to be better. It's a tough division. Everybody thinks the Chargers are a step closer to the Chiefs. We'll get a chance to see that one.
Yeah, they do. They got a lot of talent on that team.
Yep.
All right, that'll do it today, Sean. Thanks as always.
Segs, you've been a generational talent. I don't know what happened.
Ryan Clark said I wasn't anymore. So
well, it's gospel. Gospel.
Put me in the same category as Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, if you're telling me I'm Brady, I'm not a generational talent either. So Brady, Breeze, and Manning, we're in the same category. Love you guys, man.
When I make the list, you're in the list with them guys. Just keep that in mind.
It's the only time they're going to mention my name in the same breath as those 3 cats right there, and I love it. So thank you, Ryan, for some good banter today. Yep. Keep up the good work. Segs, great stuff today, brother.
Yes. Thank you. Guys we'll talk about the Eagles and Cowboys tomorrow.
Triple E and Laura, thank you for great stuff as always. Got a great team here. We appreciate you, man. Segs, great stuff today, brother.
We'll break it all down for you tomorrow. All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. See you.